A former Cougar has a bone to pick with a former Colts punter. John Mellencamp, the legendary rocker and Indiana native, found himself disheartened during what should have been a celebratory moment in his home state. The Indiana Pacers had just secured a 3-1 series lead over the New York Knicks in Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals, but instead of basking in the victory, Mellencamp was troubled by something else entirely: the way the crowd was riled up, and by whom. During a fourth-quarter timeout at Gainbridge Fieldhouse on Tuesday, May 27, Pat McAfee, the flamboyant former NFL punter turned sports broadcaster and WWE personality, took center stage. With his usual high-octane delivery and trademark bravado, McAfee got on the mic and stirred the arena into a frenzy. Targeting the courtside presence of Hollywood stars Timothee Chalamet, Ben Stiller, and Spike Lee, who were all there supporting the Knicks, McAfee encouraged the crowd to boo them. And they did, loudly and with fervor. It was classic McAfee, bombastic, unfiltered, and entertainment-driven. But it didn't sit well with Mellencamp. The 73-year-old Mellencamp didn't name names in his public statement, but it didn't take a detective to figure out who he meant. "I was embarrassed," Mellencamp wrote on social media. "Somebody, under whose direction I don't know, called out people who had made the trip from New York to support their team, and in turn, support our team." He continued, "The audience booed these people. That was not Hoosier hospitality. That was poor sportsmanship." For Mellencamp, this wasn't just about celebrity booing. It was about what it represents. Hoosier hospitality is a point of pride in Indiana, a belief that no matter who you are or where you're from, you're welcomed with kindness and respect. And to see that core value discarded in favor of spectacle, that struck a nerve. "I was not proud to be a Hoosier," he admitted. "I've lived here my entire life. On behalf of most Hoosiers, I would like to apologize for our poor behavior." Mellencamp made it clear he didn't believe the Pacers organization had anything to do with what transpired. He placed the blame squarely on the orchestrator of the moment, who was soon confirmed to be McAfee. On Thursday, McAfee acknowledged it was indeed him. The man who has built a national media brand off energy, trash talk, and charisma was unrepentant but aware. He didn't show up to Game 5 at Madison Square Garden, despite an invitation from Ben Stiller via social media. The Knicks responded with force. Behind the encouragement of a star-studded crowd that included Chalamet, Kylie Jenner, Spike Lee, Tracy Morgan, Shabuzi, and Stiller himself, New York dominated Game 5, winning 111-94. The Eastern Conference Finals was still very much alive. McAfee's absence was noted, but not necessarily mourned. The spotlight had shifted from the basketball court to a cultural clash, a loud personality versus a quiet principle, new age sports hype versus old school values. To some, McAfee's antics were nothing more than good-natured showmanship, the kind of thing that makes playoff basketball electric. To others, it was a step too far, a tasteless display that left a mark on the city's image. Mellencamp's words carry weight. He's not just a musician but an emblem of Indiana identity. His voice echoes from stages and stadiums, small towns and fields. When he speaks on what it means to be a Hoosier, people listen. He wasn't looking to cancel McAfee. He wasn't demanding repercussions. He was simply expressing hurt and holding up a mirror to his community. Hoosier hospitality, after all, isn't a slogan, it's a way of life. For McAfee, this is familiar territory. He's a provocateur by trade, someone who's built his reputation by going against the grain, leaning into conflict, and turning friction into fuel. But this time, the spark lit a fire among people who typically pride themselves on calm warmth and welcoming demeanor. The timing of this confrontation couldn't be more dramatic. Game 6 is now set to return to Indianapolis on Saturday, May 31st. The Pacers lead the series 3-2, but momentum may be shifting. What will the energy be like inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse? Will fans take Mellencamp's words to heart and dial back the hostility? Or will McAfee's influence reignite a wave of rowdiness aimed at whoever dares to cheer for the opposition? Sports have always been more than just a game. They're a reflection of who we are, how we behave, and what we value. This Pacers-Knicks series has now become a cultural litmus test. It's about basketball, yes, but also about identity. Mellencamp's public apology, heartfelt and measured, is a call to remember what makes Indiana proud beyond points and playoff runs. It's about decency in the face of rivalry, humility in victory, and integrity under pressure. McAfee, on the other hand, represents a newer wave, a fusion of sports and entertainment, where boundaries blur and spectacle is part of the strategy. In his world, booing celebrities isn't rudeness, it's part of the show. And in many places, it would be embraced. But Indiana isn't, many places. It's Mellencamp's Indiana. And in his eyes, something sacred was lost in that moment. Whether or not McAfee will respond further remains to be seen. He thrives in confrontation but may realize there's no winning in a battle over principle with a beloved hometown icon. For fans, this back and forth has added a strange, human layer to what's already been an intense, high-stakes series. Amid the three-pointers and fast breaks, a conversation is unfolding about who we cheer for, how we cheer, and why it matters. Saturday's Game 6 will bring the basketball drama. But the mood in the building? That's up to the people of Indiana. Will they lean into McAfee's energy, or Mellencamp's message? The scoreboard may settle the series. But this deeper story, about grace, pride, and what it means to be a Hoosier, won't be so easily decided.